I've got a list actually. Kevin Long, we've got a hip injury, which you didn't know about, but that's why he hasn't been involved. Wesley's got a groin strain still. He's touch and go, so we'll wait and see on that one. Chaz, which you know, hamstring, doubt it for this weekend. Barnes is still getting on with it, but his groins have been sore and ongoing. More of an overuse sort of situation. That's why he didn't play. We took him out the other night, but he's got a strong chance. Johan's making good progress, and Bardo didn't train today, but we'll see how he is tomorrow. So just unfortunate, really. It's a week of 3 games, and tough games, of course, as well. So just a bit unfortunate, because generally this season we've been good with that side of things. We had a big challenge at the beginning of last season, but this season we've been good on the fitness side of things. So I think hopefully it's just one of them things, you know, that it's all come together.
How much do you miss someone like Ashley when he's not in the team, just because of that partnership he seems to have with Chris?
With Corky, you mean? Yeah, he's done well. Oh, Barnsley, sorry, I thought you meant the other one, Westy. Yeah, he's done really well. Barnsley, he's done well here over a number of years, actually. You know that. But him and Woody certainly struck up a partnership this year, and like I say, we had to be careful with him in the week, 3-game week. But he's got a chance to be back in it and starting this weekend. Westy, I thought I was talking about. I mean, Westy's, you know, he's done ever so well for us as well, particularly from kind of the turnaround period from last Christmas. You know, had a fantastic second half of the season and gone very well again this season. But with 3-game weeks, you know, you've got to be careful. There's a lot more football, coming after these games as well. So it's a tough call, and players all want to play. You know, they've got a thirst and desire to play, and you know, sometimes they give you good feedback and you don't play them for they don't want, you know, it's not they don't want to play, but they're not ready. And sometimes they're desperate to play and you have to make decisions on them, which we did really with Barnsley on Tuesday. You know, that was our decision as much as his. And that can be tough as well, because you want to play, you know, what you think are your players, the most effective players at any given time. But it's the work of a season, not just a spell of games over 1 week.
Now you've had a bit of time to look back at the video and reflect on it. I mean, any more thoughts on that Tuesday night's game?
I thought they were terrific. I said afterwards, I thought they were hands down the best side, obviously. I thought second half particularly, they really turned up the heat. But the thing that I marvel at is probably different as a manager. It's not just the individual quality and the technical. I mean, a couple of the goals are fantastic, but they do all the basics well. They press well, their shape's good. They drive up the pitch from the back. They keep the unit lines, you know, really tight. And they open up quickly. You know, when they're ready to play, they open up, they make space, and they do things very well with that. And also their awareness. They see pictures very, very quickly. You know, it's not just their technical ability. They see the game quickly. Their reaction to open up the game, their reaction when someone's in trouble, they always find the next body to get a pass out of trouble, and they play out of pressure well. And then, of course, you add in the layer of individual technical ability, and no surprise to anyone, they're a top side. So although we don't measure against them sides, we can still pick bits up from what they do and remind our players of some of what we do. But certainly that can happen in a Premier League season. We know that. When the real top sides turn up, and if you have a quiet one, which we did, second half, I thought first half we did okay, but second half we came off it, then the outcome is that you know, you don't get a result, quite obviously.
When you look back, is there anything you could have done differently with the team, or was it just one?
Well, you can come out better second half. We didn't start well the first 5 or 6 minutes, that's for sure, and they capitalised quickly. It's a fine balance when teams are in that kind of form. I mean, a number of people who, you know, obviously me sort of part living in this area, a number of people who watch Man City regularly said that's probably the strongest half of football they've had all season. You don't really want to hear that, of course, but you know, that has to be measured against your performance. But I thought we did come off it second half. We didn't do what we needed to do to keep it tight and to basically disrupt their game, because you don't want to let them get into their rhythm. They did, and unfortunately that's what happens when they do.
Coming up against Jose Mourinho at the weekend, since he's come back, have you noticed any changes tactically or what he's tried to do with Tottenham?
I think it's too early yet. I think there's certain signs of it. You know, his adaptation. He knows they can pass and play, but I thought last night they went longer when they needed to, trying to stretch the pitch. But I think he certainly knows enough about the Premier League. I'm certainly not going to start judging him with his record. Absolutely top manager for me. You know, many years to come will be looked at as one of the best, I think. And he'll adapt the side accordingly. I think he's probably gone into a very good situation. He knows that. I don't think there's massive things wrong. You know, players are human beings. New manager comes in, they often have a bounce. They certainly they're doing that. The difference will be over time when he starts to formulate the players that are going to be his and the players that are going to leave or are not going to get picked. And I think that often is when the balance comes about the realities. But he's been through that enough. He'll know, and he'll be judging as he goes, I'm sure of that.
He obviously has this reputation as being, first and foremost, strong defensively. That's not quite been the case, has it, this time so far? They've conceded twice in every game. Yeah,
but I think they've had a very attack-minded side, mostly speaking, under Pochettino, and a very good side. I mean, I don't think I have to talk overly about him either. I think he's a top manager, Pochettino, and done a brilliant job there over a number of years. And now Mourinho will adapt that to how he sees fit. There is still that balance, to find the right mixture. Every manager's looking for it, by the way. We all marvel at the bit in between, but the main bit we focus on is both boxes, because that's the most important part of the game. So I think finding that balance will be another challenge, as you do when you're a manager. You go into a group and work out how we can work with the group and best get the outcome, which is playing to succeed with scoring and not conceding, obviously.
And just finally, on one player in particular, Dele Alli, he seems to have had a new lease of life under Jose Mourinho. What have you made of what he's kind of done there?
I think it can happen. I think a new voice, a change of face, a change of rhetoric, a change of feeling, which often happens with a new manager, it stimulates players in different ways. Some, the sort of ones who are steady performers week in, week out, probably less effective. Ones who, especially younger players like Dele Alli, top player. It seems at the moment he's had a real pop up and a real bounce, and he's got a spring in his step, and that can be sometimes a change of manager brings that. I don't think it's just him. I think there's other players there who get that window of relief that often, if things are getting a bit awkward, which it seemed from the outside looking in at Tottenham they were, then the pressure lifts when a new manager comes in for a period. And then you often see the calming down period, and that's the key. And that's what Mourinho will definitely know. Not the bounce when he goes in, the longer term view of when it calms down and everyone settles, how are they performing then? And I think that's what he'll be looking for, as much as the immediate impact, of course. Dele Alli, top player, doesn't surprise me. He's maybe had a little quiet spell and he's coming out of that seemingly at the moment. Top goal last night, must be said, top.
Sean, a lot said about Spurs forwards, obviously. Do you feel that your forwards this season are maybe starting to be noticed a bit more?
Possibly. I think the main Woody and Barnsley, of course, and Jarrod's had moments, and less so, but Vid's in behind that. But the main two that people are talking about, I think so. I think they're not Harry Kane yet. I'm a big fan of his. Everyone knows that. I think he's a top player and a top professional. But I think we're looking for the players to continue to adapt and continue to improve. It's an ongoing thing, really. That's what we've always asked of the players, is not just their performances, which of course are very important, because you want to continue your journey in the Premier League for sure, but also what are they learning, how are they improving, and we like to think the players, no matter what their age, are still looking to do that.
And do you feel that you're approaching perhaps a run of games over the Christmas spell where you could get on a bit of a run?
Well, I don't think there's any guarantees. We learned that through certainly last season and seasons before, but I think statistically it's fair to say that it's hard against the top six. We know that, and we've always found it hard against the top six statistically. But on the other hand, that you can't guarantee that. Outside of that, what you have to do is work hard for everything you get, and deliver performances. So, we look forward to, I think, is a good opportunity to recover good form, because we've had a couple of slips this week, although one being against Man City, who are at least decent, let's say. But no, I think there's good games coming, and games that we certainly think that we can definitely compete in. We've shown that before, and we want to take points, but it comes off the back of performances. It's still performances of the lead for me.
You've played City, Liverpool and Leicester already. How do you view the title race, having seen all three up close? I
think they're all different. I think Leicester, not really under the radar, but I think under the radar in the sense that no one thinks they can actually do it. They will, of course. And Brendan doing a fine job there with some very good players, and they continue to learn and adapt. Man City's certainly not written off. I don't think, you'd be foolish to, I think. But on the other hand, Liverpool, another big result last night, strong side, and, a lot of admiration for, I think they're adapting all the time personally. I've spoken openly about it, and, I was doing the Champions League. Some people weirdly put my words as a negative. It wasn't a negative at all. They won a game, how they had to win it. And I think that's a marvellous thing for any team. If you can win it in style, then that's fantastic. If you can't, you've got to find a way. And I think Liverpool continue to do that. They can win it with style, definitely. passing and open you up and pace and counter, but they can dig in and find a result, and I think that's a marvellous thing, to have as a team. Man City have shown it in different ways when they've needed it, and they're going to need it now. And then Leicester, who knows? Wait and see. No one thought they could do it the last time, but they did.
Thanks. Sean, you've also been a manager in the Premier League for a while now. Do you still relish these opportunities to compete against the likes of Pep last week and Jose, or is that sort of novelty worn off a little bit?
I don't think it was ever there. I think, you're really talking about against the game, against the team you're playing. It's not manager to manager so much. It's not a level playing field. We all know that. You can pit your wits even against Pep Guardiola, but I haven't got a team that's £500 million worth or whatever it is. That doesn't guarantee success. I'll still marvel at the successes them guys have because they do brilliant jobs. But it's not a level playing field. So I think you concentrate more and focus on the team. And, the team have to know what's in front of them, but it's about you and what you're doing and how you're playing and how you're looking to play and how you're looking to achieve things. And I think we've done that pretty well by staying focused on ourselves. So it's not a novelty. It's not whether it's there or not. It's just a fact. You are playing against other managers and other teams. It's just a fact of the division. You
mentioned there a few injury issues, and obviously you changed the shape a little bit on Tuesday night. How does that affect things looking ahead to Saturday, both tactically and injury-wise in terms of...
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Mourinho will be looking at his as well, and obviously playing last night, and who's fit and what positions he feels are, the ones he wants to fill. Not always, but often. In my experience, he's gone 4-2-3-1 or a version of that. He may change. We'll have to wait and see. But like I say, we're aware of... I mean, the thing about the Premier League, what you do forget, a lot of teams play actually quite a similar format. It's just the individuals in that format that make it work. 4-2-3-1, 4-1-4-1, often in the Premier League. So we've come across the different variations. It's often dealing with the individuals within that. And I think that's the key for us, is to make sure our players are aligned with the challenge. But it still comes down to us delivering performances.
Jeff Hendrick, I think, has now played 3 different positions in the last 3 games. Obviously, a slightly more attack-minded role on Tuesday. Just how important is his versatility, and is that both an advantage in that he can drop into several positions and perhaps a disadvantage in that he can't maybe nail one down? Yeah, it's hard on Jeff. Well, he plays a lot, so I wouldn't say he doesn't nail one down because he's played a lot since he's been here. But it is hard. We do move him around. I think he can play in different positions and he can be effective from different positions, and he's done that well. It is hard on him, but he's a great pro. He's very open-minded. He takes on every position that he's played. He's that type. You could probably throw him anywhere in the team and he'll give you everything. He doesn't over-question things, and he's a very, very good team player for what we need here, and we value that. And just Danny Drinkwater obviously came in for his first start, played 60 minutes or thereabouts. Is he recovered okay and ready to go again? Yeah, I mean, there's no measure on that performance. It's more, we know he needs fitness. We know true Premier League fitness, as in game time. We know that. So there's no measure against Man City or anything like that of his performance. More about, could he get through it? Can he get these minutes under him, particularly with Westy being down at the minute? Westy's got a chance for the weekend. We'll have to wait and see. But Drink is working hard in training. He's trying to get that sharpness back. You can't, it's difficult to shortcut true Premier League fitness, especially when you've been out so long, not just with injury, I mean, away from the Premier League, as in playing for a long time. So we do realise that is going to take time, and he knows that as well. Given that perhaps his loan is a month away from expiring, is that a difficult balance and act as to whether you want to give him a load of match fitness and then... Yeah, of course, but he knows that. He's been around the game long enough. He knows we've got to play. He knows Burnley Football Club, it's not a walk in the park. We're not stroll through the Premier League. Every position, every performance level counts, and he knows that. So I think he's aware of that. I think it's just a case of him training hard, working hard, and when we use him, he plays hard to get that real fitness. And there's no real shortcuts to that other than the work that you do away from the pitch. But when you get on there, it's still that real grounding Premier League fitness. It's a different level. In an ideal world, would you like to see him here for the rest of the season? Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that's something that he has to decide as well, don't forget, because he come here to play. He hasn't played so much. Obviously, there's a reason out of our control. But yeah, we'll have to see what he's thinking as well. And I guess either way, you'd want a depth of maybe 4 central midfielders, given that you brought him in. In the ideal world, I think all managers want a competitive 20 outfield players, a couple in each position. We've more or less got that, of course. And I think that's if any manager had a choice, they'd probably have the 33, actually, where you've got a youngster, knocking on the back of them to what you'd call more recognised players. In the perfect world, you'd have 3 in every position, but there'd be 11 of them are more like the squad youngsters who are pushing.
the next level. Of course, it's not that easy, but in principle, and if you can't have that, you look to have your 20 outfield players who can all play and all cover each other.
And just lastly, Johan Berg Gudmundsson, is he likely to be fit before Christmas, do you think? I know it's been...
We'll see. He's joined in today, but only for the warm-up with us before he's done his own work. He's feeling good. I spoke to him. He's feeling good, and he's getting there. So with a sort of decent length hamstring injury, you've got to be careful. So we will be careful. But it is fair to say he's another one. He's been a very important player for us, and he will be again. So, you know, we've took a couple of hits over the season, but more so in the last sort of 10 days, 2 weeks. And like I say, it's just unfortunate timing, we hope, with the injuries this time around.
Don't you want